back to the Daily Dose. My name's Robert. There's my pal Susan, and we're talking day one. And day one PD superheroes can be found on yesandexercise.com. This is the 11th step in the journey. Click that day one tab, and you'll see things like this map that give you the overview of the journey as we're proposing it, and a little history on the main man, Joseph Campbell, and all that good stuff. So we're at stage 11. We're back in the ordinary world. And this is the resurrection, which, as we mentioned, there's a final challenge. In cinematic terms, the bad guys close in. The hero is fighting for his or her life and trying to prove that he or she is worthy of the gift they've been given by overcoming the ordeal. The literal death, right, of either a person can spark this. In cinematic terms, again, Obi-Wan dying, right? There was a rebirth that happened for Luke of Obi-Wan in his mind. Obi-Wan sacrificed himself externally to live internally within Luke. He showed him the power of that. So you mentioned that in our last episode, that transition of killing some belief systems that were holding you back. And that's where, metaphor is so important in the resurrection, I think, because it isn't always a literal death. We do that cinematically to show things, right? Because, mind things are hard to translate. However, metaphorically, we can understand, maybe I don't have an Obi-Wan mentor dying in my life, but maybe I have an old voice, a belief system that I took on that's been limiting me. And I heroically am going to, there you go.
Pull me down. And in the vision that I had, the literal dream that I had in the middle of the night that I referenced a couple of times, that was so clear, what I was being pulled down into black sticky mud, and the death must be, and I just thought of this. So I'm in the mud. I have one hand up out in the air, but it's raining, and I'm completely buried. But there were moments where I lifted, and if you remember, I called it an internal buoyancy lifter. I didn't know what else to call it, but that's what happened. There was my spirit was being lifted, and this was happening in the ordeal, except it kept going, and each one of those things I remembered, each one of those old voices in my head, when I said, my grandmother did this, my brother did that, these things, they went away, and I rose up out of that mud. I mean, literally, it was so real. And then began to believe in myself. And that was the reward, so I got to carry that. It was a kind of rebirth, which resurrection just to me just was a direct connection.
Well, you nailed it. And those things that for whatever reason we internalize when a powerful person, often a member of our family, injures us in some way, whether intentionally or not, we give away our power. We give away our autonomy. We give away our ability. We literally say no to things because they, for some reason, taught us to say no. And for some reason, we're carrying that. When that person has no actual power, we've given that.
You're right. Yeah. And as I said in the last episode, at my own expense. I was the one paying a price, and nobody was asking me to pay the price. I didn't have to do that thing or not do that thing.
Tangibly,
but I chose to because I was afraid of conflict.
Absolutely. Think of that tangibly. It brings us back to the Star Wars thing because it's part of what we do. When Luke is sitting there telling Obi-Wan, "I can't do that. That's a noble fight, but I've got to be here," and he says, "That's your Uncle Owen talking." Right? He's internalized his belief system of can't. And it's not that Uncle Owen's a bad guy.
No, not at all.
It is a limiting thing, however.
I have to share this. So I've been going through all these old pictures of my mom's.
Yeah.
If I had it with me, I'd show you guys. This is just such a wonderful moment. So the grandmother, who was so highly revered in the family and so perfect, I found this old picture of my grandmother sitting with her feet up on the couch, and she had her shoes on. She had her shoes on the
Geez, no,
couch.
you can't do that.
No, really, no kidding. Sorry, Grandma Jean, if you can get away with that, I can get away with.
You can talk gibberish.
I can speak in gibberish if I wanted to.
You can play.
I love it.
All right. Well done. That's the resurrection. We'll see you on the next one.
That's the resurrection. Yeah.